Good morning. I'm Melanie Davis, President of the Sterling Heights Regional Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of our members and directors and our Public Policy Committee, we're very grateful for the opportunity to present this year's Mayoral Candidate Forum. At this time, I'd like to introduce our candidates. First, we have with us today Jeffrey Norgrove. And also with us today, we have Michael Taylor. Thank you. We're also thankful to our media representatives who supplied the questions for today's forum. The questions came from Eric Zarnick of C&G Newspaper's Sterling Century and local political blogger Jeff Gariepi. The format for Sterling Heights Mayoral Candidate Forum will be as follows. I'll serve as moderator, and I will also be asking the questions that were prepared by our media representatives. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a personal introduction, and names will be drawn to determine the order of those introductions. Names again will be drawn to determine the order for responding to questions. Unless there is a disagreement, once the first question is asked, we'll simply alternate or rotate the order of answering. 2 minutes will be allowed to answer each question, and the number of questions that we ask will be determined by the time we have available. I'll also be picking the questions from, drawing the order of the questions as well so that those are randomized. Following the Q&A, each candidate will be given up to 2 minutes to give their final statement relating to why they should be elected or re-elected. David BERAN, who is the chair-elect for the chamber, will be our timer. When you are close to the 1.5 minute mark, David will hold up his hand, and when your 2 minutes are up, David will stand, and you'll be given a few seconds to wrap up your response. At that point, we will move on to the next person. We thank the candidates for participating and our audience members for attending. We ask that both our audience as well as fellow candidates not engage in applause, cheers, jeers, or any other unacceptable behavior, because our intent today is solely to inform and educate and to give Sterling Heights citizens an opportunity to better know all of our candidates and to learn how they would help move Sterling Heights forward. We're anticipating the forum will last approximately 30 minutes. Thank you, and we will now move forward with our personal introductions. You will have 2 minutes for this, so I'm going to draw a name. The first person to do the introduction will be Jeffrey Norgrove.
Thank you very much, Melanie. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. I'd like to thank the residents who are at home watching. I'd like to thank all the other candidates that are in the audience. I'd like to thank the mayor and some of the current council members. My name is Jeffrey Norgrove. I'm a candidate for mayor. I served on the Planning Commission for 3 years. I was on the Citizens Advisory Committee for 17 years. In that course of 17 years, I also served on the Historical Commission and the Parks and Recreation Authority. I'm a graduate of Sterling Heights High School. I've lived in this city for 40 years. I attended Macomb Community College. I am a veteran, and I work as a machinist at a machine shop in Fraser. So thank you very much for letting me have this forum, and I look forward to our debate.
Thanks. Michael?
Thank you very much, Melanie. Thank you to David, to the entire Chamber of Commerce for all the work that you do for the city of Sterling Heights and for hosting this forum today. I want to thank Sterling Heights TV for producing it and for broadcasting it over the course of the next coming weeks so the residents of our city can make an informed decision this election. I also want to thank the residents who are here in attendance today and watching at home. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Taylor. I'm the mayor of the city of Sterling Heights. I've served as mayor for the last 3 years, and I've been on the city council for the last 8 years. I can tell you that serving as the mayor of the city of a city like Sterling Heights has been an honor and responsibility that I take seriously every day. I work hard every day for the residents of this city to provide high quality services at a low cost. And I think we're meeting that and exceeding those expectations. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Macomb County. I attended high school at Lutheran High School North. I went to college at Kalamazoo College, where I earned a BA in economics. After that, I went to law school and graduated from Wayne State University Law School and have been practicing as a full-time attorney since 2008. My family is my wife, Christina, and my 3 children, Clara, who's 7 years old, Hudson, who's 5 years old, and Theodore, or Teddy as we call him, is 2 years old. I'm proud to be the mayor of the city of Sterling Heights, but I'm more proud to be a resident of the city of Sterling Heights. I think Sterling Heights is a great community, it's a great city, and my family and I are fully invested in this community. My children attend Utica Community Schools, where my wife is the PTO president at Oak Brook. We are invested in our Parks and Recreation Department, in our Sterling Civic Theater. We are proud to set our roots in this community, and we love the city of Sterling Heights, and it will be my honor to continue serving as your mayor for the next 2 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to both of you. So we'll begin with the questions now, and I'm going to draw one more time to determine who will answer the first question. Okay, the first question will be answered by Jeffrey Norgrove. And the first question I pulled was number 6. Please tell us what aspects of your educational and employment backgrounds make you feel you are more qualified than your opponent to be mayor of the 4th, and some would argue soon to be the 3rd largest city of the state of Michigan.
Yes, I feel that my qualifications are, like I stated before, I've been a board commissioner for almost 20 years. You know, everything I do in work, you have to deal with people, you have to respect people, you have to deal with people one-on-one. It's very important that you get along with your fellow coworkers. It's very important you get along with the people that run the city and the administration, and dealing with residents. You're going to get phone calls in the middle of the night. You're going to get emergency phone calls from people. And sometimes the mayor does have to step in to get those problems solved. So with all my years of experience coming to city council meetings, sitting through budget hearings, it harkens back to just having a clear respect for the people here in the city, and making sure that this city runs smoothly with no hiccups or bumps, making sure we're fiscally responsible in the money that we are spending, that the taxpayers are giving us to work with, and just making everybody feel very at home and comfortable here in Sterling Heights.
Excellent, thank you. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I think I've got it, Melanie. Thank you. It's a good question, and we have a very diverse city in Sterling Heights. We've got 133,000 plus residents. We've got thousands of businesses here, tens of thousands of jobs, and so the mayor, or the leader of the city council and the city of Sterling Heights has to be somebody with the background, with the experience, and I think I have those. I have 8 years of experience on the city council, the last 3 years serving as mayor. I know about what Mr. Norgrove said because I've received those nighttime phone calls, and I answer the call. I have 2 cell phones that are on me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I get those calls and I respond to residents quickly, and I've responded to hundreds of residents every month. And so that's something that I feel I've shown leadership on, and that I've done since the day I started on city council 8 years ago. I also have 9 years of experience as an attorney. In my current practice, I serve as a probate and estate planning attorney, and I also represent businesses. We have a lot of businesses in the city of Sterling Heights, some world-class manufacturing companies down to small mom and pop shops. I've represented all of them in my practice as an attorney. I've represented large corporations, I've represented small corporations, and I've helped those business owners be successful. And I've done that also in my role as mayor. I've got a law degree. I have a bachelor's degree in economics. That educational background has helped me, and I believe it's helped the city of Sterling Heights come out of the depths of the recession to where we are now. Our economy right now is roaring back. We have high, medium household incomes. Our property values are up. Our unemployment is low. Jobs are coming back, and people are really starting to feel that the economy is working for them. So all of that experience and that educational background I bring to the table, and I think I'm an asset because of it.
Thank you so much. So we'll alternate now, and Michael, you can answer this question first. The next question is, one of the biggest issues in Sterling Heights concerns a mosque planned to be built along 15 Mile Road. After the Planning Commission rejected the proposal in 2015, the Federal Department of Justice and the American Islamic Community Center both filed suit against the city of Sterling Heights. The city ultimately settled both lawsuits in 2016, paying out monetary damages to the AICC and clearing the way for the mosque to be built. Should the city have settled these lawsuits, and why?
Thank you, Melanie. And yes, the city should have settled the lawsuit. I want to preface this response by saying that the Planning Commission did its job, and absolutely, Mr. Norgrove served on the Planning Commission at that time, and I've said it before. I believe the Planning Commission used valid zoning and land use reasons for denying that application. We get applications of all sorts in the city of Sterling Heights, and there are residents who are going to be affected by development, whether it's a hotel, whether it's a shopping center, whether it's a mosque, no matter what it is, residents in the surrounding area are entitled to being part of that process and entitled to getting notice, which they did, but being a part of the process so that any incoming development should be a good neighbor and talk to the neighbors about what's going to be happening. At the Planning Commission level, there were 2 meetings, and I believe that it was validly denied. After the lawsuit was filed, however, those things take on a life of their own. And based on my experience as an attorney, and I was in mediation sessions and facilitation sessions with the federal judge, and it became very clear that the city of Sterling Heights was going to lose that lawsuit. Not only were we going to lose the lawsuit, our insurance company was going to deny coverage if we did not work towards a settlement. So we had to work towards a settlement. We met with them in good faith on several occasions. Our attorneys worked hard, professionally, and diligently, and the law was properly applied, and we were able to reach a settlement that I think is going to be good, not just for the residents of Sterling Heights, but also for the AICC, because every faith community is entitled to worship peacefully in the city of Sterling Heights. The AICC has hundreds of members of their community who've lived in Sterling Heights for generations. And so we welcome them to the city of Sterling Heights. And I can't wait for them to have a place to worship and call their home that they can be proud of. There were some bumps along the road, but the settlement is fair, and I'm proud of it.
Thank you so much. Jeffrey, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I understand what you're asking. And yes, I did serve on the Planning Commission back at that time. Quite frankly, we gave AICC the opportunity to come back and work with the city. We had many questions that were left unanswered. The application itself was iffy at best. It was a one-page application. For something of this size, I think it was very important that we were given all the information and not had any concealment with the issue. One of the big problems that I have, and I still have, and yes, I am part of litigation with the city, to get it to come back to the city so they can revisit the consent agenda. Under special land use, there is a 30-foot height restriction in a residential area for a building. I want to make it perfectly clear that the litigation is not suing AICC whatsoever. We have nothing to do with that. But clearly, none of the questions by the planning commissioners were answered effectively. Now, the problem I have with this, with the city settling the consent agreement, and this is very tricky, the comparator has now been set where they can now exceed the 30-foot height. So anybody else coming in front of us can put any building on a special land use and say, you did it for them, you have to do it for us. That's the important part here. We must adhere to our zoning codes and our laws. We cannot give away the farm to one group and not to another group. We have to hold everybody at the same standard. Now, this property was a little over 4 acres. There was insufficient parking. There was ancillary uses mentioned. And then now in the consent agreement, there is a provision where possibly if there's overflow, they're going to be parking at a Warren Consolidated School and shuttle busing people in. That was never part of anything that was brought to us before the Planning Commission. And I will add that it was denied 9-0 because nobody was satisfied with what was going on with the application. We were hoping it would be like the other mosque at Dobry and Ryan, where those people chose to work with the city and they came to have a great place and everything worked out well.
All right, thank you so much. So Jeffrey, we'll have you answer the next question first. How can Sterling Heights establish itself further as a destination city for millennials, be it simply for visiting or for residency?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. We've been looking at that for a long time. We don't have a downtown, as everybody knows. We are not a Ferndale or a Royal Oak. I agree with Mr. Taylor absolutely that we do have good parks and amenities. I know some people aren't going to like paying for those with the millage increase we had, but we have to face the facts. This city is growing. We are going to have to think out of the box. In terms of Lakeside Mall even, on the Planning Commission, we are given some proposals for what-ifs with Lakeside Mall. I personally like the Plan B. I think a lot of people do, where we could establish a nice area where people could come to. I think the problem with our city, even back from a township, our neighborhoods are spread out, but the township people and the people that envision this city, they put parks pretty much in every square mile of the city. So we are attracting businesses. I think that's very important. If you're going to be a millennial, you have to work and pay your bills and have great schools for your children. We know we have great schools. We know we have businesses. Our neighborhoods are very safe and very good. I'm not sure how to draw the millennials in. Maybe we could do some kind of an outreach, kind of like the Say Yes to Michigan campaign that Tim Allen advertises. But you're right, it's very important we do get people in, because quite frankly, we are kind of a sleepy town. Most of our residents are senior citizens and a lot older, and we have to draw on the millennials. That's going to be the next generation of this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So how do we reach millennials is a question that every business is asking itself. It's a question that every city is asking itself. I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. Millennials are a great resource to have for your business, for your community, but I don't think we should necessarily focus a lot of our energy on attracting millennials. If you look at the SEMCOG data that we have, and SEMCOG is a Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, it has very good data about our population and how it's broken up. And we actually do fairly well when you look at people 25 years and under, and we do very well in retaining people 55 or 60 years and older. It's that inside 25 to 55 years old that I'm more concerned about attracting and retaining. Millennials are great, but they're kind of transient, right? They move from job to job. They're not as committed to an area as other generations have been. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for professionals. I'm looking to attract and retain people who have graduated from college or a trade school and are looking to invest in a community. They're looking for parks. They're looking for good schools. They're looking for a place where they can raise their family. They're looking for a place where, as they grow and mature in their job, they can have a community that they feel comfortable in. And so to me, that's the age demographic that I'm really trying to look for. And what we've done to attract those professionals and we've done to attract those types of people is we've invested in our Parks and Recreation Department. We have a $45 million investment project going on right now that was approved by the voters to show that we are committed to our parks and our green spaces. We're committed to our roadways. We're committed to our infrastructure. And this is what is bringing people into the city. We're committed to attracting new businesses. We have a great local economy right now that's seen billions of dollars of investment because we have a highly trained workforce that's coming in. So that's what I'm trying to do, and that's the type of resident I'm trying to attract and retain.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we'll have you answer the next question first, Michael. Social media is an increasingly important feature of the local political scene, with both of you actively posting to sites such as Facebook and Twitter. With the job of mayor in Sterling Heights being the public face of the city, one bad post could tarnish the city's reputation. Do you think voters should be concerned about your social media posting?
Of course. You know, social media posting, what you do online is a reflection of what you're going to do for the city of Sterling Heights. And, you know, I know in my position as mayor, I represent 133,000 residents. I represent the 7 or 6 other city council members who serve with me. I represent all of the board members and commission members who volunteer their time. All of the people who volunteer either at the Parks and Recreation Department or volunteer at the Senior Center or volunteer at any one of our community events. I represent the city employees who come to work every day and work hard to provide good services for the residents of the city of Sterling Heights. I think social media is a very important tool to use. It's a good way to reach voters and to reach residents and to talk to them about what's going on in the city of Sterling Heights. I have, like I said before, I've got 2 cell phones, so I get phone calls all the time. I get text messages all the time. I get emails all the time, but I also get Facebook messages. I also get Twitter direct messages. So I view this as a tool to reach more residents and to explain to them the great things that are going on in the city of Sterling Heights. We have events all throughout the year. We've got our, Sterling Frights coming up, Sterling Christmas after that. We've got a DPW open house that just happened. We've got a fire open house. So social media really gets the word out there. And when residents have questions, I'll give you a perfect example. I made a Facebook post recently, and a resident said, I'm upset with the city of Sterling Heights because my taxes have doubled since I moved in here. So I was able to get the information from that voter, look up her house, and determine that she had failed to file a homestead exemption or principal residence exemption. And I was able to explain to her through Facebook that if she takes these steps, she'll be able to save over $1,500 a year on her taxes. And that's $1,500 a year going forward. And I would have never gotten that message had she not reached out to me on social media. So I think it's a great tool, and it's important that we have a good, positive presence on it.
All right, thank you. Can I remind everybody in the audience to please silence your phones or your electronic devices? We do have a timer up here in the front, so thank you. Jeff, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I get the gist of the question. Yeah, Mayor Taylor is exactly right. Social media does play a big part in outreach to the city. One thing that I've always wanted to see implemented was an actual social media policy here in the city. I know things happen here and there, and it's going to happen in this electronic world. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, things get said or done that unfortunately you can't take back. And I know it's a lot different for private citizens than it is for elected officials. But I do think if the city did adopt a social media policy, it'll give everybody a little bit pause to just step back and take a look at what is actually going out. And I agree with the mayor. You're going to get posts coming in from people saying, I have a big hole in the front of my yard, or there's a sinkhole in my driveway. And you do answer those. I think, the mayor's right. You definitely have to outreach to people. They're going to come to you as mayor before they call City Hall. They might be more familiar with you. So it's very important, as the mayor representing exactly what he said, 130,000 plus people. You have to be very careful what is posted and what's out there. And I know that sometimes there's people out there that try to get to you and try to get you off balance, and that's a shame. Unfortunately, that's a sign of our times where, people are going to pry and poke you. And it's not always fun. It is a challenge. But I think it's very important that the city does have a social media policy. So that's just my opinion on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we have time for probably one more question before we do the wrap up. So Jeffrey, I'll have you answer that first. And the question is, recent events in the news, such as the Charlottesville clash and riots in major cities, have shown this country has a long way to go before it can be said that we are all living in harmony. As mayor of one of the most diverse cities in the area, how would you foster greater understanding and acceptance among the disparate religious and cultural groups in Sterling Heights?
Well, and that is an interesting question, because in the scope of going across America, you're seeing a whole bunch of different facets of this, whether you're down south or up north or east or west. I believe it is becoming a problem again, almost harking back to the 1960s, the late 60s. I think it's very important to foster relationships between all races and cultures. When you walk around Sterling Heights here, you see people of many different races and cultures. I really can't think back to a time where there was a news story where somebody was put down or beat up being from a different culture. I could be wrong, but when I walk around here and we go to Sterling Fest, and I'm sure the mayor sees it, this city is a really nice microcosm of what America should be. I think we have, great religions here, great people, but maybe the city could do a little more to reach out. I think in one case, I really believe that in our city magazine, we should have a bilingual 4 or 5 sets of sheets to explain to new residents coming in who don't speak English what's expected of upkeeping the property and things like that. So zoning people don't have to go out there and write them tickets and then they come in here to the city complaining. I think the government outreach is probably the first and foremost biggest thing we have to do. I think hiring more diversity in our police and fire should be looked at also. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you, Melanie. The city of Sterling Heights is one of the most diverse cities in the entire state of Michigan. And I say it's wonderfully and beautifully diverse. As adults, sometimes I think we segregate ourselves to people who are similar to us. But as the father of 2 young children, I'm oftentimes able to go into our schools, and that's where you really see the diversity. Diversity of not just skin color, but different ethnicities, different languages being spoken, and different religions. And so the city of Sterling Heights is working hard to foster those, foster better relationships amongst all of our residents, and using our cultural differences as a strength. You know, we have a cultural exchange every year in the winter where people of all different cultures and ethnicities come together. We eat together, we break bread together, and there's no better way to learn about each other's differences and learn from each other than by sitting at the table together, enjoying delicious food. We've got wonderfully diverse markets and restaurants in the city of Sterling Heights. So we know we have this diversity, and we know it's a strength of ours. We also recently brought back the Diversity Distinction Awards, which is an award program where we held a dinner at the Polish Century Club. And we had guest speakers come in and talk about the strength of our diversity. We had a man named Bing Goy come, and he was recently appointed by Governor Snyder to a newly created department of the state of Michigan called the New Americans. And he talked about how our diversity is a strength because when you work with people of different cultures, it really helps enrich your life. And so we are going to continue to work hard on fostering those better relationships. We are one of the safest cities in the entire country. And the reason is because we have a great police force and we have great residents. And our residents have respect for one another. They have respect for our police force. Our police force has a new program called the CORE program that's reaching out to neighborhoods and engaging them. And so we're going to continue those programs to help foster better relationships in our city.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now you'll have 2 minutes to do a summary of why you believe that you should be elected or reelected, or just closing comments. So Michael, we'll have you go first. You'll have 2 minutes to do that.
All right, thank you very much, Melanie. And again, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank Sterling Heights TV for producing this, and the residents who are here watching this program and learning about the 2 candidates for mayor. A question that I get, and that is something I should rightfully be asked, is why should I vote for you? I want you to, when considering who to vote for, look at the 2 candidates and see that I am invested with my family in this community. I have worked hard to make this a better community. Over the last 8 years, every single day, I've thought about what can I do to make Sterling Heights a better place to live. I'm here with my family. My wife and I have, as I've said, have set roots in this community, and we will be here for a very long time. You can trust me. I have experience doing what I've been doing for the last 8 years. I work well with our city council. Our city council is not plagued with many of the problems that other communities have. We work very well together, and we work well for the residents of Sterling Heights. We're making progress in every area of our city. Our police and fire are among the best in the entire state. We're hiring new police officers. We're coming up with new programs like the CORE program I just talked about. We've just hired 15 new firefighters to implement an ALS transport system that is going to help save lives. It's going to be cost neutral, and in fact is going to generate revenue and save taxpayers money. It's going to provide continuity of care so a firefighter is with you the entire way. We have the safest city ranking. We're investing in our local economy, billions of dollars of jobs, because our businesses trust the city council. And you can trust the city council too. You can trust me as your mayor. I have the experience, I have the temperament, and I have the ability to continue leading this city forward. We've made a lot of progress over the last 2 years. We're just getting started. I hope you'll give me your vote this November. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jeffrey?
Yes, thank you. Again, thank you to Sterling Heights Chamber. Thank you to the people at home watching, the people in the audience. I want to thank the mayor for being here also. And then I want to thank him for his years of service to the city. I've watched him from the audience for a long time, so I just want to thank him. One thing I am concerned about, he did mention ALS. I do have some concerns with that. I'm hoping that it works, because if it doesn't, we're going to have to pay the bonds back and the grants, and that could be very tricky. I am also against any consolidation of the fire department. I've spoke about that before. I do not want to hear any talk in the future about consolidation to help other cities that are running out of money. But with that, I too am invested in this city. I've been here 40 years with my friends. I went to school here. And yes, I would really like your vote to become the next mayor. I think the residents need to be listened to. I think they need to be respected. It's very important that we let the residents know that we respect them and care about what they think, even if they disagree with us. I think it's very important that the residents' money is being spent very frugally, and we must be fiscally responsible. We cannot be spending out of control on every little thing that comes. So with that, in closing, I just want to thank everybody for being here. As you can tell, I'm not a polished politician. I consider myself a statesman. I'm not doing this for me. I am in this race for the residents, to represent them the way I feel they should be represented. So thank you very much. You can go to Jeff Norgrove for Mayor on Facebook or jeffnorgroveformayor.com, and I look forward to getting your vote November 7th and working with the council on November 8th. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to both of you. And I would also like to thank Bridget Kozlowski, Dan Rizek, and Bob Surgott of the staff of Sterling Heights TV for their assistance with the forum and being here today to tape these programs for Sterling Heights viewers and for airing them at future dates. Our chamber thanks you, and your fellow citizens thank you, and we wish both of you today success in the upcoming election. So don't forget to vote on November 7th. Thank you, and the forum is concluded.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.